There you go. There you go. Pull your mic up to you. Let me get you some headphones. Woo. All right.
Swear to God,
And typical
anywhere
in there. There you go. Let's see. Can you say something?
Yo.
They're tricking me. Go ahead. There we go. Now we got you.
All right.
They always put the 3 in the 4 and the 4 on the 3 for some reason. Here we go. Let me get you some headphones. Hippy Life Podcast. Now, let me get the correct terms. Hippy Life Podcast is the name of the pod, correct?
The podcast is the Hippy Chronicles.
The Hippy Chronicles. So I get confused. Hippy Life is
the brand.
The brand.
The clothing brand.
Oh, okay. See, we need to straighten all this out. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. It's a one-man show and it's always fucked up. How you doing without headphones?
While we're talking, we're chilling.
While we're talking, I'll get you some headphones.
If you can hear me, I can work with it.
Yeah, you sound good. You sound good.
Okay. Sound like K-Boom. Oh yeah. No,
okay, introduce yourselves, gentlemen. To my left, who do we have? Let's figure this out from day one. From
Young
the start.
Hippy.
Young Hippy, I'm very aware. I see most of your clips on IG. Occasionally, I do, as a stoner, take the time to go to the full podcast where I was introduced to K-Boog. Now, K-Boog is in all the promotionals. Don't let me fool you. He's very much involved in the situation. I was just unaware at how the situation operates. So we're going to learn all about that today. Gentlemen, I'm going to get weed when I leave here. I have nothing for you but empty jars. We're going to talk about some empty jars. I did have one of my interviewees, a local independent rapper named Charlie Goo, did give me some weed lately. So I'm very happy with that. It's a celebration when somebody brings me weed of any type. And he has his very own strain.
Oh, is that right?
Now, what I want to do, I want to get a certain amount of it and bring it to you guys, and we'll do like a review and a test.
I'm with it.
It's not sold in stores, but I can procure some a certain way, one way or another.
Yeah.
And so I would like to do that just to get your review on his personal strain. It's called Wide Open. It's named after one of his songs. And the breeder, the grower, said that when he played the song for the weed while it was growing, it made it darker and better.
Okay.
So that's an interesting story, right?
That's pretty
so
dope.
Whether it's true or not, I love a good story.
I like a good story.
And so anyway.
I just want to smoke the weed.
Exactly. Thank you so much,
the
guys,
story's
for coming
cool.
in.
I just want to smoke the weed. That's what that's about.
Thank you guys so much for coming in, and you can inform me on how the whole operation works. I just want to say I'm a big fan off the bat.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I enjoy cannabis. And it's a lot of science that I feel goes beyond my pay grade. So I love when you take that science and break it down in a way that's entertaining, that I can digest.
Excuse me.
Your speed reviews and the gas pass, I'm very interested in. I've just started getting into the full podcast with a room full of guys talking weed, but I love it. I wish I could be in the room. I love talking weed. I love smoking weed. All of that. I'm so happy to be in a state that allows me to get a medical card and buy it, and now be recreational. First question. Keep your card or not? Now that we're going recreational,
I'm 100% keeping my card.
Absolutely.
I'm keeping my card.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
I wanted you guys to.
I mean, to me, the tax savings over the
pays
course
for the
of
card.
2 years.
Yeah, if you smoke a lot,
I've already done the card in 1 month.
I've already done the math. The tax savings alone, and we get our own line. We don't have to wait in line with all the newbies. That was important to me too, because it's. I mean, let's be honest. Dispensaries can be a bit of a pain of an ass. They don't really put out enough. Now I've seen this in operation. Now tell me if I'm wrong. It seems like they have bud tenders in the back fucking around until it gets busy, and then they bring them out. So if you get caught in a weird transition, you could wait probably what I consider to be too long, because they're not circulating the people right, or if it's only a couple people, they'll be like, fuck it, let them wait. I get that kind of feeling sometimes when I'm at dispensaries.
At some shops,
Some shops, I get that old school feeling like when I used to deal with drug dealers. Like, hey, you need me, I don't need you, fuck around. You wait, you should, no complaint, shut the fuck up.
Get me the fuck out of here. I'm trying to go home and smoke. I'm trying to get in just as fast as you probably want to be out of here. So like,
now other shops, other shops have been very different. People are very nice. Like, no, take your time. No matter how many people are here, let me help you. And so it's just difference in life, I guess. Just difference in brand. So what would be one of you guys? What are some of your favorite dispensaries if you would shout some out for being good and not? We'll leave the bad names alone. But what's the dispensaries do you like? Or is it all about brand and you don't care where you buy it at?
It was really about brand for me. But honestly, I don't shop at the dispensary a lot anymore just because I get mainly 2 brands. Just because a lot of the other brands, it's hard to say, like...
Just don't hold up?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? This is just for me, though, because K-Book, he shops everywhere. You know what I'm saying? That he can find...
we'll get to K-Book. He can talk for it. We'll let him talk for himself.
You know, but as far as me, like, I'm going to TrueMed for sure. And this just started. They dropped off a little, not dropped it off, but blessed me a little care package. And from there, I was like, oh shit! Like, this
it seems to have been very influential. The care package.
Yeah, it was hella influential, bro. I was like, I see what y'all did there, and I ain't mad at it.
Just to let you know, he's now driving far.
Yeah,
just to go there.
I make the drive.
Like, far.
Oh, you have to drive
What's that
far?
like? That's got to be 35, 40 minutes.
Oh yeah,
right?
I'm 35 minutes away.
Yeah.
It's definitely out of my way to go there, but I've started just going there.
Yeah. So I go there. If I'm looking, like Grow Science, we're sponsored by them. So usually I'll just go to the Grow or something, and they'll give us some shit that's pretty exclusive. But really, like,
do they have a and I'm unaware of this, and this is another way it breaks down. Is Grow Science tied to a certain dispensary chain so that you can get all the flavors or you can get the freshest there, or is Grow Science just sold everywhere and they're not tied to a specific chain?
They're kind of like I'd say their home dispensary would be Local Joint. Like, you could find, like, they do a lot of big releases, big drops with Local Joint, but they're really a lot like all over the
They're just
valley.
independent kind of, right?
Yeah. They're not. Now I don't know who they're licensed under. I can't say that.
Sure.
But like, to say that you would, like, for instance, TrueMed's their own own grow and dispensary, right?
It seems like when I get something like a product like True Infusion, if I get it at, I believe Nirvana Center is their home spot. Right?
They've got a spot way out in like AJ. That's like their official home.
Like,
well, I don't think it's like True Infusion, but that's their like home spot.
Oh, okay.
There's no dispensary,
but it's far.
Like Grow that has their own that I actually know of other than TrueMed. Oh, actually,
because this relates to when I go to
like Ponderosa grows their own, I believe.
Some places have their house flower, and of course everybody sells a bunch of brands and varieties usually. But like, say,
that shit gave me the chills. When you said house flower, I was like, ugh.
It doesn't. It just hurts your feelings.
It hurts my soul.
Yeah, I mean, Territory Dispensary, they grow their own flower. They're just starting
Isn't that Aries?
No,
they're not Aries.
And it's a Rise.
Are you right?
Oh yeah, I always say it wrong too. No, but
I'm gonna be corrected till the day I die.
I'm gonna keep correcting you.
I'll take it.
Their edibles are high class. I forget all the names, but they definitely have their own what they grow and produce flower, and it's just getting to a point to be okay. But as I found the hard way, nobody's house flower turns me on. Really, except for like TrueMed. You can say TrueMed is their house flower because they grow their own.
Yeah.
Their flower turns me on, but everybody else's we're growing it ourselves flower always disappoints.
I'm trying to think too. No.
Arizona
Valley of the Sun.
They
have some. That's way out by me. They have some fire. And
the Arizona Cannabis Society.
And I'm unaware, like anything west or north of the city, I haven't really been to. I'm still trying to get to Debbie's. I'm far east. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Well,
so
if you're far east, that AJ True Infusion spot might be something.
You say AJ? You mean Apache Junction?
Yeah.
Is that the cool? Is that what the cool?
That's what I said.
AJ.
I don't know, man.
That's just the show.
I went to Apache Junction to go to Nirvana Center, and going to Apache Junction seems like it's like going to Arizona 30 or 40 years ago. Is that? I'm not from around here.
I'm not from around here, so I don't know what it was like 30, 40 years ago.
I ain't been there.
It seems like all of Arizona might have been like Apache Junction at a certain
one point,
in time,
they just never grew past it.
Yeah, and they don't give a fuck. I saw. Yeah, they don't. For instance, the door that the door when you go back in the dispensary has the lock on it. It's supposed to be the door to where armed men can't break in and steal everything.
Yeah.
And in AJ at Nirvana Center, I hope I'm not getting anybody in trouble, but the door just swung and barely closed on its own. Like you really had to put a concerted effort to make sure that it's shut and locked. So I'm like, they just don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Everywhere, I mean, it was just a regular door too. It was a door I could have put my shoulder in, you know, but I just think that it's a level of trust. You know, nobody's fucking around in AJ.
Everybody else got guns.
Everybody's carrying guns. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everybody's
dogs and guns.
Land of the Wild Cowboys out there.
Real.
Land of the Wild Cowboys for sure.
Good Lord.
6 shooters and Spurs.
Oh, well, TrueMed is somewhat of a sponsor of us here at Respect the Underground. We have a great relationship with them. So I'm still working on the relationship to get it to a certain level, but I'm trying to get those numbers up so they'll give me the blessings like they'll give you.
Bro, let me tell you something. You got the sponsorship. We got lucky.
You got a little care package.
Well, I
don't know how.
I think you're getting luckier and luckier. I think as your show gets better, you're getting luckier and luckier.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I don't think it's luck, to be honest. That's just your words. I think people are responding to your show because of how good it is and how informative it is. And so it seems like y'all put an incredible amount of work in this. A pod with all the clips, and hey, I do this whole thing myself, so I understand how much work it is, and it's only 2 or 3 or 4 of y'all.
Yeah.
What started how did a gang of potheads get together and become so focused? Is it sativa driven? I know you don't like sativas, but as a sidestep, we'll get to that. But how do all these potheads get together and create so much content while smoking so much, which seems like it's hard to get all that to happen, but I don't know. Break it down.
It took a minute. I'll say shout out to my guys, Steez and T-Rose. You know, Steez, he consistently just came over when I needed a subject other than myself, you know, and he was willing to make the drive. He lived down the street and sometimes had to stay coming from Glendale, so he would make the drive and we'd just be recording that shit, and I was like, bro, I need more content because I was addicted to editing the shit. So I was like, let's.
Well, that's a good addiction to have when you want to create content.
I mean, my old lady hates it.
You know, I bet.
I finally discovered the headphones, which she's been more appreciative of. But my time.
You were doing a bunch of editing with no headphones
out loud. My son probably knows like. So many songs he shouldn't know. That's my fault.
You're lucky you still got a lady. But go ahead, continue. Don't let me.
And then
he is.
My guy T-Rose. So that whole care package thing with TrueMed actually happened because of him, because he's the one that was consistently going to TrueMed like, bro.
Yeah, let's give him a shout out because you said he actually turned you on.
Yeah, he the one.
Because it seems like to me when I first started watching you weren't that involved in TrueMed.
Yeah, because it was so far and I couldn't find the reason to make that drive all the time, right? And T was like, smoke it. When he would bring it, some of them weren't really dialed in. So I was like, it's not worth me driving out to get some hit or miss flower. So fast forward, they dropped me and T a care pack, and I thought that was dope that they took care of him.
Right.
Because he earned that. You know, he's the one, if anybody.
He's out in the streets promoting hard.
Exactly, right? If anybody should have got
especially
that pack.
in your ear, because you're the man that's got the platform.
Yeah, and I'm just like, bro, fuck you. Like, at one point, I was like, bro, stop going there. Like,
right. What are you doing?
Try something else.
Yeah, you keep hitting me up and talking about how this one wasn't a miss, but he's always like, the next one gonna be fire, right? So then I got that care pack, bro, and none of them missed, right? All of them were a hit. And from there, I was, if I have to go to a dispensary, I'll just go to TrueMed. Like,
right.
So now it's just like, it all just came together with just practice. I started doing baking shit. So, you know, I turned that into content. He really was like, bro, I'm not going to be editing all this shit for you. So figure it out. So that was dope, you know, because Kyle,
right.
You know, he took the train.
You know, salute to you. Salute one to him being honest and upfront.
Yeah, for
real. And you know, salute to you for being willing to take all that on, and not only being willing to take that on. When I figured out I was gonna be doing most of the editing and content production, if not creating, right? Yeah. I gotta be honest. I cut everybody else off and did my own show. Because I mean, it's 100% honest. This might hurt some people's feelings, but I didn't want to be doing 90% of the work for 25% of the whatever is to come. Now, mind you, I'm not making anything. I
I could relate to that.
I might get a gift from somebody, or sponsorship, or interviewee. I might get somebody might break me off for being kind and or providing good content for them, or whatever. But it's rare, and it's just starting. I'm not expecting anything. I'm only like 15 episodes in, so everybody.
You cozy for 15.
Yeah,
bro.
Well, I've been doing something like this for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And before I had, like I said, I had a show with 3 or 4 other guys, and when I figured out I was gonna be the main one working the show, I stepped off to do my own show. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I appreciate y'all's bond and that you stayed working.
I mean, that shit almost happened with us too, though, because of me, though, because I lost my shit. Like I was I was expecting everybody to take on projects like I was, and I was like, bro,
that was my problem.
You know what I'm saying? Like. And eventually I got to the point to where I was like, bro, if this thing explodes and we stop this podcast, it's going to be because of me and nobody else, because I'm really hurting this shit. Even though I feel like I'm making it better, I'm really hurting it because I'm creating a divide between me and my boy with who's doing what. And you know what I'm saying? When at the end of the day, this is about to benefit both of us.
Sure.
Because if he's not working on what I'm working on, he's working on something else, or he's plotting something back there, running some numbers. And then he shoots me something, which gives me another idea. So it's like a full circle. Or it goes back to where I'm thinking of some shit and I shoot him an idea, because now my guy's making music videos. And I'm like, damn, bro, how long you been doing music videos now, bro? That shit's fire. You know what I'm saying? That's the dopest thing about our team. Like, I just got on my voice this morning and they told me straight up, like, stop acting like a bitch. And I was like, all right, you know what? Like, y'all
might be right.
Y'all might be right. Because there's a way, I'm still learning how to approach. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've been sober for like a little over 2 years and shit.
Okay.
I was like,
we definitely want to talk about that later.
Yeah, that's how long the podcast been. That's the birth of the podcast.
That's how it all started, for real.
Yeah, I forgot that was the actual original question. I'm sorry.
No, it's good.
We get to the answers eventually.
I like to hear all the information in the breakdown. So do you think the podcast kind of filled a lot of people say to get over an addiction, you need to fill it with another addiction. Do you think the podcast has taken over what the alcohol was doing?
Yeah, for sure. Because
it's a lot healthier.
For sure. At some
healthy addictions are not that bad.
At some point, I mean, to a certain extent, is it healthy, right? At first, I was not doing this shit healthy at all. Like, I was letting it consume my life, missing out on shit with the kids,
right?
Creating friction between me and the old lady. Financially, everything was going downhill for me, but on the outside, the podcast was looking good, right?
Yeah.
But I couldn't truly enjoy that until everything on the inside was good as well. You know,
I understand that, because if my wife or home life is fucked up, there's no fun.
You know, even at the beginning of the
getting
corona,
high isn't fun. I still get high, but it's not fun when I've got stuff on my mind or when the main things in my life are fucked up.
I feel that. You know, we just went on that little fucking stint. We went to 3 different states, bro, doing podcasts and winning awards and shit. And I was away
Incredible. Congratulations.
I appreciate that, man. That was rough. I'm not even gonna lie. Salute to all the artists, all the athletes that like are able to stay away from home for the long periods of time.
People don't realize how hard it is.
That shit is hard as fuck, bro. I had the worst mental breakdown while I was in Las Vegas winning an award, bro. The worst mental breakdown. Just missed my family, just overworked myself to get to that point and didn't even enjoy that moment, right? I didn't enjoy it till I got home and vented, and it was just crazy. So I truly don't know how people can do that, but I really respect them doing that. And
it's whether it's military men or sports players that tour and travel, or comedians, or especially comedians and wrestlers. A lot of people have trouble with addiction, eating, gambling, drugs, whores.
Everything
when they live that road life, and it goes for all the people I mentioned, sports stars, military men. When you're away from home and family, it's hard, and a lot of people, they go to things to ease up on it. And this is not a new thing. When my father was in the Korean War, everybody in his group smoked and drank and hung out, except for him and another guy. So they made money borrowing money to everybody, all the partiers who would run through their money the first week and need more money. So they would loan them money, and then, they made a little banking system off the guys that smoked and drank, But so it's always been that way. It's tough, man. But I'm glad you're making it. Definitely glad you're making it. Since you touched on it, let's go ahead and get into it. How when I was raised up, or when I first started smoking weed, if you would have told somebody like, yeah, I'm getting sober, but I still smoke weed all day, they would not have accepted that. There was a certain time in life where
still don't accept it.
Well, in Hollywood they do. I feel
Let me go out there.
I feel like amongst your like serious drug addicts that have almost lost everything. Yeah. They completely understand smoking weed is fine. If you're just doing that, it's fine. Now I still take an occasional drink. I'll have 2 or 3 browns on ice and I get nice and I'm good. I don't have to drink anymore. So I figured out once I got to a point where I didn't want to ruin my next day and have hangovers and all that shit, I cut out that much drinking and I haven't had a problem since. When I was in my 20s, there would be parties. I was supposed to be DJing.
Problem.
Yeah, I would circle outside of the party and lay down on the concrete to cool off and to be away from people because I was sick. I was that kind of drunk, and I would hide at parties because I didn't want people to see me fucked up. But I would be fucked up, so I understand having a serious problem, if not going all the way to rock bottom. But what do you say to people that would have that opinion? Because I'm very much of the opinion, and that. Weed should have never even been considered with alcohol, cigarettes, meth, cocaine, and the rest. But that's maybe too far advanced for some people. But how do you explain to people that, weed is not alcohol, it's not cocaine, it's not? I'm living my life and my family and everybody is well supported, and I am there for them. Yeah, smoking weed where I was not. Yeah, when I was drinking alcohol or doing the cocaine.
Yeah. I mean, I was always smoking, but.
And I didn't mean to put cocaine on your ticket if that won't you.
No,
but you tickled the nose a little. When I said it, you tickled the nose a little bit. So I thought maybe there might be a little history there.
Yeah. No, that was like my my trio right there. Weed, cocaine.
They go together. For me to really drink well, I need a little cocaine.
Because then you can keep drinking.
Yeah, and then you need some weed so you could go to sleep.
Then you need some weed to mellow out.
And then you gotta go to sleep.
Bring that heartbeat down a little bit. But listen, we're not telling you how to get through that shit.
And if you're in Richmond, from where I'm from, please don't use cocaine. It's not good. You might as well get a CVS caffeine pill. You'll be better off.
Baby life.
Oh, shit.
But anyway, it's not good.
No,
it's not good. It's very stepped on. Bro. It's very stepped on.
That's kind of the reason why I stopped going to AA meetings, bro, was because of that scrutiny they would give you.
I know AA does not allow
them
anything.
Shit suck. And here's the thing.
Baby Jesus is all you can.
Caffeine and nicotine.
Yeah. But here's the thing, man. Caffeine and nicotine are mind-altering substances,
Aspirin.
right? And the entire belief of AA, of sobriety, is no mind-altering substances, no matter what they are. That's the whole belief. That's what they teach you.
But if they took coffee and cigarettes out of it, it wouldn't work.
So it's okay for you to smoke your pack of cigarettes.
They're gonna kill you.
And drink your
the people
gallon of coffee so you can bounce off these walls like you did a whole rail.
Yeah, and peacock the whole bathroom.
And I can't smoke my weed so I could just chill. Nah, so I smoke my weed.
A lot of people use AA and they're fine with it. A lot of people that have discovered a way out of alcohol without AA are not so happy with AA and the way they handle things. So it's different. It works for some people, doesn't work for other people.
I just didn't like how they said it was like open, but then when you got in there, it was almost like cult-like. I'm like, y'all said it was cool in here, and now y'all got me feeling like I need a drink. Like I'm supposed to leave here feeling like I don't need a drink, but every time I leave here, I want to go to the bar because y'all make me feel bad about whatever the fuck because I come in smelling like weed. Meanwhile, you got a lady in here half drunk, and this is an AA meeting. Like she's half drunk, and y'all not saying one thing to her. So I got over that and was just like, fuck it, I'm going to just do me. I'm going to smoke weed. I'm going to do this podcast because that gives me a way to talk about shit if I'm feeling some type of way. And we don't even talk about sobriety. Like, if somebody asks me about it, then cool. Like, I'll give you any and every fucking piece of advice I've learned so you don't have to go through what I've gone through to get to where I'm at today. Because this shit may look, on the outside, people see me smoking weed and having a good old grand fucking time, but like, that's just now. Like
it looks fun. It does look fun. I will admit that.
But that's recent. Like that's probably within the last few months, because before that, like shit was not like, it was hard as fuck.
Right.
You know, it was a grind, and like not once did I think about taking a drink, and I could have. You know what I'm saying? Like you said something real dope. It was like people when they're gone use shit to escape and be cool with being away from their family. And at any time when I had my mental breakdown, I could have just been like, fuck all this and took a drink.
Yeah, we got a bottle. Yeah.
And, and instead, I was in Vegas. I drove to the dispensary and got an eighth, went to the gas station, got some blunts, rolled up in the car and smoked a blunt while I was driving down the strip. Now, I don't recommend it, but it's therapeutical if you have.
No, it's definitely therapy. I had in Virginia, I had a friend, a black man, I'm painting the picture, doesn't matter. A black man, 325 pounds. A good friend of mine lived down the street, came over my house incredibly angry. Someone they had, at the time they lived in apartments, and they were close apartments, and they had let some assholes move into the apartments. And he was on the verge of, extreme anger. I'm getting ready to go choke the shit out of this guy. Yeah. And he came to my house because I have somewhat of a soothing tone, and he and I hoped we could talk about it and work it out. We got high. And we talked about everything, and it might have been 10 or 15 minutes later, his blood pressure was down, his teeth and his fists weren't clenched. He was starting to see perspective. The guy was still an asshole. The guy was totally wrong. But perspective is this man going to drive me to going to jail? Is this man going to drive me to ruining my neighborhood family life? Is this man going to drive me to being a barbarian because he's a dumb fuck, and there was no issue, there's no problem. He left, everything was good, and so I don't care if it's alcohol, definitely not cocaine or meth or any of the uppers, but maybe mushrooms or psychedelic is the only thing I could compare that would have worked that well in that situation. Yeah. And I just think that in that drastic and intense of a situation, if it works, well, then it must work in milder situations, like when you're trying to avoid a drink or you're stressed out because life gets at you sometimes.
Facts. Like
I had to jump my car before I came here today because I left the trunk open like a dumb fuck. And these are the things that when you're trying to get somewhere and make something happen, things get in the way. It gets stressful. Yeah, well, that's part of the problem, maybe.
Forgot to close.
If I'd have been on that house weed, I would have just shut the trunk, probably. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's the reverse. I can wake up if I go about my day stone sober, I'd be fucking shit up.
Hey, that's
if I don't sit down and smoke first before I go about the rest of my day.
That's K Boogs. He's been a little quiet over there for the internet.
I've just been listening.
He's been chilling. I know. Obviously, Young Hippie is a bit more of a talker than K Boogs, but that's okay. We'll get to whatever, whenever. It doesn't matter to me. I had a friend one time, and he was much more. He was from Colorado, and this is 20 years ago when it was only legal a few places, and he said, Swerve, he said, I smoke okay weed and I get okay thoughts. And he said, I smoke better weed and I get better thoughts. So he said, that's why I try to smoke the best weed, because I want to have the best thoughts. And
shout out to that logic.
When I think, Jason, when I think back to that, I can't argue with that. I can't really argue with that. So I don't know. But what I want to know is, right now from both of you, if I'm leaving here right now, you know where we're at in the city. We're pretty central. If I'm leaving here right now,
you already know my answer,
and I want to get some great. Hopefully I know, because that's probably where I'll go, but
that's
maybe
exactly
not.
Where you going.
If I want to leave here and get some great weed, where do I go right now? Because that's actually what I'm doing when I leave the show.
You have to ask Kyle, because he is less biased than I am when it comes to shopping.
Now I'm okay. Let Kyle answer first, and I got another question.
For my answer, I would have to sit down and look at Leafly and see who's got what in stock.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't blindly say go drive over to TrueMed, because I've looked at TrueMed's menu a couple times and said, you know what, I don't want anything that's over there.
Are you a brand man as well?
No, I like different strains, but I also don't like to blow my wallet out all the time.
Okay.
So I try to personally find half ounces for less than $100.
Wow.
And I'll go up to
they don't piss you off.
Right.
Right.
And
Young Hippy might have an issue with that, but anyway, let's go.
Whatever.
But
he's bougie.
There's a lot of us, including me, that I go back and forth, to be honest. But I'll get some.
Well, here's the thing.
I'll get some great weed that's at a good price.
Yeah. At 80 to 100,
right.
That's because you can get the True Infusion fucking popcorn nugs for that. You can get at 120, you can get the high grade little
the half
minis, half ounces.
I've enjoyed
There's
those.
There's a lot of good half ounces you can get for $100 or right around there.
Sure. I
agree. I'm not smoking garbage weed at all.
But you might step down to an A- or a B+ to have a lot.
Right. And then at the same time, then I don't feel bad if I go out and buy a couple of things that maybe are a little bit on the more expensive side to supplement that.
I do kind of the same thing. I go back and forth. I'll get like a B+, and I'm perfectly happy with it. But then, especially if I get a lot of it, there comes a point during that journey where I think, man, I'd kind of like to taste the A+ right now. But
and plus, and I'll be brutally honest, I get people bringing me A+ all the time.
So it's not like,
when I have to go out and pay out of my own pocket, I don't mind getting a B+ because I got a couple A+ at home already.
Right. Well, I wish much more of that for you guys because you're on the right path. It's not a lot of people need the information that you're giving. And specifically, you did a gas pass where it wasn't a top shelf, and it impressed you, and that really caught my eye. I don't have my notes in front of me, so I can't remember because it gets to be a lot of information.
Yeah,
it's like keeping up with baseball at a certain point, where knowing stats and teams and
I forget
and breeders and brands.
A week ago.
But you had a gas pass that you said it was a mid shelf or a regular shelf, and it was really good. You said so that. Those ones really catch my eye because I was raised with Depression era parents. I'm an older man and I get tight. I get cheap with the money sometimes.
I feel that.
Now, mind you, I would love to smoke $60 apes all day, every day, and that's why I'm starting to try to look for sponsors and people that want to help me do that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was going to say is compliment to you because you started the right podcast at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
To really give people this information and supply brands with the reviews and advertisement that they need. And I mean, I can't. I see all this free weed in your future, and it makes me excited.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
I see you getting so much that you invite me over, and we smoke together on your podcast.
I mean, but
at the end of the day, weed is about sharing.
Yeah. That's really the reason why we do this. A lot of people think we're in this shit to get money and shit, or I mean, like. I just tell them
free weed is money to me. It's kind of
you know what I'm saying? Like that saves me money.
If I can put my weed budget in my bank account,
right? Exactly.
And
if I could just do that all the time, I'd be making a lot more money.
Right.
A lot of the shit we get is so exotic. Some people don't get to smoke that, and I'm not saying that to like rub it in, but I'm saying like that's a blessing to be able to smoke this kind of weed. That like if I wasn't
stuff that I used to see,
because immediately you will usually say it's not available on shelves yet. We hope, or even if you don't. Back in the past, some people have asked and you would let them know like, nah, this isn't. So, salute to you for creating your pod and your craft to where you're in that position. And I see nothing more but that for you.
Yeah.
And, I think, everybody wants to be in that position, but everybody doesn't want to do the work and the consistent editing, podcasting, time and time again, the consistency, everybody, now more than ever, you see more podcasters than ever with the last year,
which is dope. I think we need
it's
that.
Great.
Now,
it's
here's
great.
what I think we need more of. If you want to ask me my opinion within regard to the podcast, is I think we all need to start now linking together, especially within our city, man, because that's where you will find a new audience, right? Because if, for instance, there's listeners from my podcast that never heard of you. Now when you come on our show, they'll go look you up, or the fact that I'm on here and my people see that, they'll go look you up and be like, and that'd be the same for all of us. We can all grow together. And that's why I'm so grateful you invited us here, bro, because we don't get these offers ever, really.
Well, to be honest, y'all reached out to John Blaze or somebody here at the Respect Underground.
Yeah.
And they kind of tossed it around. And at first I said, what? And then I went and saw some of your work. And I said, no, this is great. Definitely. I want them on, you know, and because somebody said they think, we think they'll be great for y'all's show. And,
And shout out to them.
Yeah. It was either DJ I or John Blaze, one of the team here.
Probably I ran into Blaze at our studio. So he was there working on a project.
But they knew y'all had interest in doing an interview, and I immediately jumped on it when I saw your situation. At first I was so rapper artist minded, I didn't conceive of having another podcast on, but then I'm a fan of podcasts. I've seen other people do swap casts, as they call them, and things like that.
Yeah.
And then when I started actually doing the knowledge, because of course, like most people, I started doing the show and didn't even look into reading the directions until like 3 months later. Like, oh, there's books and things I should be reading about this. But one of the basic laws of podcasting is do podcasts with other people. So I'm glad that in my folly I fell into this situation and booked you guys, because you're totally right. And I've reached out to Mike Terrell. I've reached out to other people that are doing shows so that we can do exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Spread the word about our individual shows. And I've said this many times. I don't feel any competition with anybody else's shows, because what I do is very to itself and its own thing. And just like you guys, you very much do yourself into your own thing. Now, you do a thing that a lot of people would like to do, but you do it in such an extensive way. I don't think first of all, I haven't seen many people attempt to do what you're doing. But it's so much content and information. I don't see how anybody would
hard
really
to absorb
want to. I don't think people would want to compete with that, because the work that you're putting in is obvious.
Yeah.
The love and the work that you're doing is obvious. And
I appreciate that, man.
And so True Med, I fucked up the question. You would have to go to Leafly.
I would look at Leafly first.
So all right, let's get back to that, because I slept on that.
And then I would have to figure out what I felt like tasting today.
Right. Well, see, that would have to be. I would have. So you might. How would you that? Because I want to know this, and this is important for people like me, especially if you just got your card. Tune in, but so when you're looking at Leafy, what would be hints that you would take, especially buying something not top shelf, which seems to be what. If you don't know what you go to, so if it costs more, it must be better.
The first thing I would do is, today's Saturday, so it was Saturday. I would probably look out east a little bit, because they usually have some decent half-ounce flower deals out at Health for Life and stuff.
Okay.
And then from there, if nothing was looking exciting, I'd probably look at Move, because they always have half-ounce flower deals.
And Move does their own flour, right?
They do their own flour,
they have good
which
flour.
is good.
They got some Grow Science half-ounce.
They do have Grow Science half-ounces there as well.
Were they
also
140?
I think
something
145, something like that. And they also have high-grade half-ounces, which are at 120.
Right.
So I would look at them probably. And then I would probably also look at jars and compare what flavors they have, because jars, you can usually find some stuff in that neighborhood as well. I know they got high grade there. You can usually find some of the True Infusion stuff that's not in the branded jars, but they sell it.
Right. No, that's one thing I wanted to point out. They sell there. They claim, and this is why I thought Nirvana Center was their main center, because they sold it like that. And I had never, everywhere else had been just the jars. Mm-hmm. But at Nirvana Center, for $5 less, you get it in a bag, and the buds are a little smaller.
Yeah, the small.
And when I bought this, I was on some. I got $5 extra.
I got the extra $5.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, well, then I can get a couple more, and I don't feel as bad.
Yeah.
But to me, if it's something I've already smoked and I've already reviewed, then I know I can get it in the popcorn.
Right.
If it's something that I want to review, then I have to go look for it so I can get some good pictures.
I've never had a problem between popcorn and full-size buds. And where I came from, in Virginia, you got whatever the guy had. And if the buds were smaller, you still paid the same amount. It didn't matter. You know what I mean?
It didn't even have names most of the time.
You didn't get any deals. Well, they were making, at a certain point when names got popular, they started making up names. Yeah.
I can't say I had a problem with smalls versus bigs, but there was
one thing you got at True Med where you didn't like. I think it was the runts, maybe.
It was the space runts.
You didn't like
ones
the
were smalls and then ones were bigs, and I smoked the smalls and I was like, this ain't really all that.
And just for that, we can turn around and give you an example of a time where it was the opposite with Arise, because we got he got the GMO in their jars at 45 or whatever they go for.
Right.
And I turned around and picked up the GMO 80 for a half ounce popcorn, and it blew the jarred stuff
Same
away.
brand, same brand, same everything.
It was probably a later pull.
Right.
Because it was like a month later.
On a certain level, we're chasing the dragon, right? On a certain level, you don't really know till you know.
Well, until you get home and open it.
Right.
Because you can't smell it anymore. Look at it really, like you just going in blind.
I wish they would introduce the I don't know where you got it from, maybe you created it, but the sticky test to me is brilliant.
Oh no.
I would love if the bud tenders could somehow do the sticky test for me, because that when I first got here, I was disappointed that a lot of the weed looked great, but it was dry by the time I got it.
Yeah. I got that from the guy, Treehouse. He doesn't do reviews anymore, and I had to hit him up because his reviews are some of the only reviews I liked reading, because they weren't fucking biased, or they were like ours in a way, you know, like.
It does take a little bit extra to get a motherfucker, especially a hip hop motherfucker like me, to like read 3 or 4 paragraphs.
Yeah.
Like, we all about watching a minute video.
Yeah.
But that's why I haven't gotten into the podcast yet, because it's like, wow, an hour and a half. Huh? Okay, I'll see about that.
I do a podcast every week and I don't watch any or listen to
It's hard for me.
Because here's my thing personally. If I've got an hour and a half that I can just listen to something, I'm putting on a record or something.
Yeah, it's not me.
Like,
it's not
I'm
me.
listening to music.
Yeah. I'll listen to Joe Rogan or Joe Budden sometimes for that length of period of time, but it's
See,
rare.
Joe Rogan, I hear is great, but he intimidates me because every time I want to listen to one, it's like 3 hours long. It's like I don't have 3 hours to listen. Like I listened to the Killer Mike one, which was like 3 hours, and I had to break that up into like sections, which I guess is what people do. But
maybe, the thing I'll say about listening to Joe Rogan is he does, between his comedy and the loose weed talk, it does go back and forth between like information and silliness. So I think that's what kind of keeps me tuned in. Mm-hmm. It's not just like there's others like Jordan Peterson where he's just, and the wild war was rah 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 for 3. I can't listen to that.
That's why we come with a idea.
And I can't listen to all Joe Rogans. It really is dependent on the guest himself. Yeah, it really is dependent on the guest. So I think that sounds like a lot of work, Kyle. I think I'm probably gonna go to TrueMed and buy the freshest thing they have in. What I found lately is I will ask for I'll get to the top shelf area and then I'll ask what's the newest, what's the freshest thing you got.
Did you try the rainbow sherbets? They just dropped.
No. I haven't been since the ice cream cake. So it's been a week or two. Yeah,
they just dropped a few new strains. New Year's Eve. I bought a few.
Yeah. Well, you did.
Yeah.
You actually bought some. Wow, that's it. And I want to say I love the Hippy Life hoodie.
Oh,
if I can get to purchase one of those when y'all have a new drop, let me know. If you have them available right now. Yeah.
Just let me know what size you are.
Okay. XL. Let's talk about some of these jars I brought today. Like I said, I apologize. You guys are smoking big and you had goals of smoking me out in the studio, and I wish. And we will get to that point one day for sure. But today, we're not smoking in studio here at Respect Underground, and I brought nothing but empty jars.
Okay.
So, and just pretend we have a bag from TrueMed, because they don't have jars. I think that's the one thing.
Yeah.
The one disappointment is the packaging, right?
Yeah, I can't
very
call
basic.
it a disappointment, but bruh, like y'all got this very beautiful ass weed. Put it in a jar so I could put the jar in my collection.
You know where they're at now, though? The place they're at now, though, is I think they're at a price point where they really can't go up.
Yeah.
Not just for the jar.
Yeah.
And then, I would like to see if they were to do that. I think their move would be able to get the jars, and the jars are only available elsewhere. They don't sell their weed anywhere else. If you notice, they don't sell. You have to go to them, which I'm sure is their marketing plan and design. And I think if one day they did want to sell weed and make a splash outside of their own dispensary, maybe then they come with the jars.
I feel that.
Because the availability to get their cannabis closer to home, people will buy it.
Yeah.
And at that point, you might not mind the extra $2 or $3 for the jar, or they might be able to sneak it in there. Right.
Yeah.
Well, why can all these other brands put it in a jar and they can't afford to?
Well, some people just like keeping the money, Kyle. I think some people.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they can afford to. They just don't want to.
I think people just like keeping the money, and when it's a boutique cannabis spot. But all right, let's start with these. Now, I'll save the one I was most impressed with. But True Infusion is readily available a lot of places, and they've come with their jars. I think they basically stepped up lately in the last year or two, if my knowledge is correct, and they started the jars, and I'm seeing.
They started the jar about a year ago.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that
fill us in, Kyle.
Personally, they came out the gate pretty strong.
Yeah.
And then from my personal experience and also what we've seen a lot of in other people's experiences, they fell off. I won't say completely.
Pretty hard though.
Fell off pretty hard.
Lately?
Yeah.
Okay.
From what I hear, they are kind of kicking back on the upward swing now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there were some, from what I hear and understand, there might have been some of that. We want to keep the money instead of growing the weed, right?
Oh, they started shortchanging the process a little bit?
Yes.
Oh, you can't do that, guys.
So I think that they realized that and realized that the process was why they were doing so well, and it wasn't the cuteness of the jar.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad. Hopefully.
So that's my personal experience.
Well, you answered my question. My question,
along with what else I've heard.
My question was going to be, what do you think causes that when people start with a bang and have really good cannabis, and then it kind of downsizes?
They
want
to eat more of that black.
Right. I didn't bring a jar, but I have been, in comparison to other top shelf brands, I've been let down by Nectar Farms from time to time. And
that's a hard one.
My home dispensary at Territory, that's one of their main top shelves they carry.
I just got their Jelly Breath, and the look and the high was good, and the flavor. I was a little disappointed with the dryness, and I suspect that the place I got it from I didn't look at the dates.
Just had it too long. Yeah. I feel that way.
So I have a hard time saying it was the grow's fault a lot of times, because I've talked to so many of the growers that have told me once it's harvested, even before it goes into packaging, it's out of my hands, and I have no control over.
Because different people cultivate other than the growers, right?
Yeah. So the growers
who usually cultivates if the growers do not?
This is usually a few scenarios. So the dispensary or a grow, for instance, we'll say TrueMed or Grow Sciences.
Okay.
They'll go on a pheno hunt, and what that looks like is either they buy a shit ton of seeds or they get a shit ton of clones, right?
Okay.
So
because they want to introduce their strain as their
and they get it from the cultivar or the breeder. The breeder is the person who creates the strain.
Okay.
Which there's really one original breeder for one strain. People just take that strain, and then there's different phenos of the same strain, right? Just like there's different types of apples, right? But at the end of the day, it's an apple.
Right.
So
and if I do, just like any other business, if I take that and do it a little different, then it's kind of mine.
Yeah. Well, you can as long as you don't call it the same name. If you want, you can call it that name, but if you're gonna sit here and create and say you created a strain, but really it's just a different pheno.
Well, people would call you out on that because the people in the know would know.
There's people that would know. Yeah. But if you say I took this breeder's cut and then I took this breeder's cut and I mixed them together, now you've created your own breed, right? Because you took two different.
That's what I was referring to. When you take somebody's good thing and breed it with another thing, then you can call it something different, make it your thing.
Yeah. But if you just get it, like for instance, what these grows are doing, they're just getting the seeds from the breeders, and they're now the cultivators because they're the ones who grew it.
Right. Because it has to be. Let's be clear. You can get your seeds in Cali, but whatever's sold legally in Arizona has to be grown in Arizona.
Yes.
So that's why sometimes you get disappointed in brands that are maybe better in California or used to be better in California, that sometimes when they're processed in Arizona, they don't match up to California standards.
And that's just, a lot of it has to do, obviously, with the grower, the master grower, the conditions, because I've learned after going to a lot of different grows, each grower does it different, right? Their element, the therapy.
It definitely isn't black and white.
Yeah, it's not. So here's what we're doing. We're getting ready to launch this new project, Growing with Young Hippie, where I'm actually about to teach everybody how to grow weed.
That's awesome, and, especially with the times in AZ right now. You know, right on time.
A lot of people in the industry are trying to charge people to do that. You know, like
of course.
They got consulting on how to fucking set up a grow at home, right? Of course. Yeah. I'm not about to do that. I'm about to show you how I did it, and I literally watched a shit ton of YouTube videos, talked to a lot of my homies. And the person who's really got their hand in this is the owner of Grow Sciences. He's in my fucking, like, sends me all my notes.
That's incredible.
So he's taking that. He's in.
For the record, I've always loved Grow Science. I've never been disappointed by them. And they give you 0.2 extra. I don't know what that means, but yeah, they're
3.7.
All their 8s are 3.7 for some reason.
I believe their half ounce smallest is 15.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Extra gram.
Can't be that.
Matt.
That puts a little warm spot in my heart.
Like, shout out to Matt, because a lot of, like, I see a lot of stuff out there on the internet that says, you know, Grow Science is about the money and all this, and I would dare anybody that's actually met Matt to say that to me.
Right.
Because that is the exact opposite of what Matt is. Matt is the most humble person I've met. I won't say that I've ever met in my life, but he is definitely one of the most humble persons.
Top 5.
And he, anytime you talk about his brand, he's going to talk about somebody else's brand.
Right. Bro gives away money like, oh, you want me to sponsor the podcast? All right, bro, here.
That's wonderful.
Oh, fuck.
So, yeah, shout out to Grow Science.
Shout out to Grow Science. I like that you like them because I like them. Let's get back to these jars.
Yeah, sorry.
I have
not tried Shango.
I love talking
about
You what? You don't?
I have not tried it.
Not tried Shango?
Really
what's your thoughts on Shango?
I see it could be better.
This was tested at 29% tropical punch.
Those numbers are lies.
They are produced by. You don't believe in the independent tester that's listed in the.
I believe that the number is a
selling point.
Just I guess a measuring stick, but not. I don't know. I don't feel like it's in perspective.
Check this out. You go to the dealership.
You haven't tried it, and you were mildly disappointed.
I've had some Shango, but let's check this out.
You don't like to say you were mildly disappointed by it? You said you had some
I don't mind being the only disappointment. I mean, everybody has a different preference when it comes to weed.
Yeah,
I can't agree with the quality of that weed and what it's priced at. I think it could be about $10 cheaper.
Well, okay, it's important you touched on that. Touching on that point. Mm-hmm. We come to Red 22, who was sold to me as just as top shelf as the rest of their top shelves. Now, when I looked in the jar, they were small buds.
Yeah.
Now I'm smart enough. I lived in AZ long enough now to know that I don't pay full price for small buds.
So don't.
And so I was just disappointed and have no reason to even consider them. But that's just what came up, so I thought I'd bring them up.
They are the white label gods.
White label gods.
They've got everybody else.
They've got
different people growing their weed, and then they put it in their jar.
Oh, so you don't know what you're getting.
No, you don't know who really grows it.
Say less, say more, say less.
There's some musician that is involved with that company.
Okay.
The dude from
they always fuck it up. I tell you who shit I was really disappointed by was fucking Silent J and Bob.
Bro, I wanted to try that so bad, but the price point was just way too high for me to even consider it.
Well, first of all, I bought a pre-roll because he said, with a pre-roll...
That's the worst thing to start with.
The pre-roll is only this, and the 8th is that. 8th was like $70. Yeah. I'm like, it's no way that works. And so it's this whole new process of supposedly they inject the weed with...
Did you recently get this?
No,
this was recent?
No, this has been a few minutes.
Okay.
But here's what... After I got home and I looked at the pre-roll, I was disappointed before I even smoked it because it said... literally like 17% THC.
What the fuck?
Isn't
this infused?
Bam, 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 ding, ding, ding. How do you add concentrate to good weed and still only end up with this? I mean, if it was
why.
If it was just 17% weed, I wouldn't even want to smoke it. What did they do here? How did this happen?
That's distillate and that's trim, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you're smoking. So
I get you. I get it. Distillate is
distillate is basically means that the product, the starting product, there was something obviously not good with it, right? It had some kind of flaw to it to where they had to run it through some kind of filtration process, whether that's butane, CRC, whatever the fuck the case may be.
Right.
So then that shit turns into, then they get that fucking distillate, which is why it's so damn hard. And then they take the trim because they're not gonna grind up no smalls, nor are they going to grind up any big buds because they're going to sell those, right?
Right.
So they're going to take that trim and they're going to grind that shit up. And then they're gonna make pre-rolls out of it. And I only say this because I work in the industry.
I don't even think we have time today to get into concentrates.
That's fine. We can talk about it because concentrates is a whole nother.
It's a whole nother conversation. I really don't think we have time for because I have a lot of questions about concentrates.
I mean, you could always hit me up if you have.
Well, yeah, I'll hit you up. Let's get back. Let's finish the jar thing and then we'll move on. Now this one I want to mention. This is a brand that was new to me. I bought it at Territory.
How long ago
it's
did
called
you buy that?
House Exotics. Maybe a month.
Okay. Oh yeah, they just came back.
Now, and they've been since I bought this, they've been out of it. Yeah, this is the wedding cake. Okay. Now this was only pre-tax $45, which was $5 cheaper than all the other top shelf. It was priced at same price as the House Premium, which get this every time if that's the choice. But it was sticky. The buds were chunky, well shaped. I'm trying to pick up on some of your lingo.
How did it smoke though?
Oh, it smoked great. I got very high. I got my thing was you seem to me like a wine connoisseur. Like you smoke weed and you taste things that I don't ever taste. Okay. And I'm the same way with wine. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I'm wrong you're right. But how do you speak to people like me who don't taste every note, as it were? You know, because it has to be honest, for me to actually taste these notes, they have to be kind of smack you in the face. Like if something's real gassy, of course I smell it. Or if
close your eyes.
Something's real fruity. Closing your eyes helps.
Close your eyes
to smell better. That sounds like some old black man shit to me.
Nah, for real. So because I went to culinary.
I was raised in the South around many old black men. So that's not a shot.
No, that's fine.
Close your eyes. You smell better.
Yeah, no.
Focus.
I went to culinary school, and they sell a lot with your nose. First thing they sell you with your eyes, right? You see it, and then you smell it, right? So if you close your eyes, it eliminates everything you're seeing. So now you kind of like you're going in blind. Think about somebody who can't see, like a blind person.
Daredevil.
Yeah, exactly. His senses are more heightened.
Yeah.
So when you close your eyes, you kind of smell shit. It's weird how that works.
I'll try. Everything else is work, so I'm willing to try. Yeah, go ahead, please.
From somebody that's a non-culinary student.
Right.
When I first started really reviewing it, I had to do more research almost. Like I had to look into what it was crossed with and really think about it and look for what I was supposed to be tasting. Mm-hmm. However, now
once you put it together in your head, it kind of works.
Like if you read a couple of what's this strain? What should it taste like? And then you smoke it and you're like, that does taste like that. Because you are looking, if you're looking blindly for something and you don't know, you're in the dark.
I just got some jelly bean recently. Okay. Jelly beans running around the valley. Okay. And that had a very distinct smell. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. But if you asked me to say what did it smell like, I don't even think I could fucking tell you. You know, maybe I'm a moron or something. I don't know, you know.
I think it once you actually start putting the ideas and the taste together.
I get it.
You start building on it, I feel like.
I get
personally.
When you get some shit, hit me up. Be like, this is what I smell, and I'll tell you the fucking terminology. Yeah. That's all it is.
Well, culinary school makes sense now that you tell me all that. It makes me feel a little better.
Because I can't drink wine. They try to teach us how to pair wine with food, and I couldn't do that part, you know? So I was like, okay, but yeah, the homies say that too. They're like, bro, how do you taste that? And I'm just like, I don't know.
A lot of people I talk to, especially rappers, they don't give a fuck about indica, sativa, or hybrid, and I can't figure that out for the life of me because it makes a big difference to me. It
does, yeah.
I mean, literally, I have a lot of shit to do during the day, and when I get the right, now mind you, I'm working my way through sativas because there was a time where I wasn't a big sativa fan, but I have a wife and a small child. I have a lot to do during the day, and when I get a hold of the right sativa, man, I'm like a machine. I knock shit out. I'm knocking shit out. I look up, it's 2 hours later, and almost everything's done.
But that wrong sativa will have you in front of the ER room checking your pulse.
Yeah, well, I've never gotten that bad because I went too much. You're very right. Too much coffee and sativa, or a certain kind of sativa, does give me anxiety. It gets me jittery and like fucked up in the head. I'm not thinking right. So I understand.
Jitters is bad.
I understand what you're saying.
I used to prefer sativa.
Yeah, when I started,
and
me too.
That was probably because I was a more on the go person then.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to the point where the sativa just didn't smack hard enough.
Right.
So that's when I really started shifting to indicas a lot more. But an indica, like, it's rare that an indica is going to couch lock me where I'm not going to get shit done for the day.
Right.
Like, I can wake up in the morning and smoke an indica, and if it's not like
the white runts, oh, that mobile, yeah.
You know, I can go about the rest of my day as if I had just drank a cup of coffee,
with flour, it might just slow me down for a minute. A cup of coffee or something might get me going back. But it's with the concentrates that I really have to be careful, because
you've seen my videos and the concentrates. Yeah. We ain't friends, bro. They be fucking.
I only smoke concentrates at night usually.
I only smoke them on Saturdays when we have guests to bring them. Other than that, I was like trying to show off for 2021. Yeah. And it didn't work in my favor.
I met a few bud tenders that when I was first starting out that were like, I don't really do concentrates, or I don't do them in the nighttime. And I'm thinking, like, why not get as high as you can get all day? And I just figured out that doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not like that.
I mean, you could, but it's just not productive.
I've almost literally gone back to strictly flour now, just because it's better for my life, my wife, the family. It keeps everybody happy, you know, because
I like the whole process of
very much. The indica concentrates, you might as well put your dick in a jar and put it in a shelf somewhere. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I am a little older, but the indica concentrates, there's nothing happening below my waist once I hit them kind of concentrates. You know what I mean?
So now, that's sativa, what it is.
Interestingly, the right sativa is almost has a touch of Viagra in it for the old man. The right sativa. The right sativa gets me going a bit. So you know, but I don't have any problems. This is just little extra things happen for the fun of it, you know.
There's some weed out
is there a difference in all these jars? Grow Sciences is different. Most of these are the same design. This is trying to be a little different. Some of them have the double twist or the turn down and twist. A nice bud tender said, just put your shit in a mason jar. It'll last forever.
That's the key there.
Because I didn't want to buy a lot of weed because it's just me smoking. So I feel if I buy a lot, it'll just sit around and go dry or whatever. So, you know, but
I have a hard time taking the ace out of the jars that they come in. But anything that I get that isn't in a jar, I have mason jars.
Well, unfortunately, I smoke these before they have a chance to go too bad. So
that's what I mean.
But like with you, when I want to buy, because
Get yourself a couple of
I still haven't done it, but I want to walk in TrueMed and buy an ounce one day. I don't even think I bought a half ounce from them. You know, it's pricey, and I really don't need that much at one time. And I'm still in this lockdown mentality, like still from living in Virginia all my life. When I go to the dispensary, there's a part of me that wants to buy everything every time. I still have not realized that you don't need all this every time. It's going to be here tomorrow. They'll have different kinds.
With TrueMed, maybe not. Or even with Grow Science shit, maybe not. Like, you got to be.
Are there strains that good that don't come around that much that would be worth keeping?
There's
like dead stock. There's dead stock weed like sneakers, kind of. You know,
there's lines.
I've been waiting to try it and missed it the last time, and then Grow Science isn't growing it anymore. Except Matt said he's gonna grow some more Romulan.
Oh, word.
Because you asked nicely?
I think they had planned to grow some more. I don't think it had anything to do with me. Okay. And I think they're going to do concentrate out of it again. But I think I talked him into, if he remembers, to at least save me some flour.
Hey, I got to get out of here pretty soon in the next 5 minutes. I got one more question. Just one question on concentrates.
Okay.
All right.
When I was in Richmond, I smoked some shatter. And,
that's really fucked up.
Yeah, I got real high because it was my first time hitting concentrates. Yeah. I got high like the first time I got high ever, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
But it always had a hint of butane that came along with it.
That's the extraction process, brother.
Right. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing: since I've gotten to Arizona, and I'm smoking more concentrates, and they don't have the butane smell, I feel like they don't get me as high. Was I getting high off the butane too?
Probably. I mean, I can't say that wasn't something that was boosting your high a little bit.
But how was your high? Also, let me see where you're at level.
Also, it was the first times I was hitting concentrates. And I probably have a higher tolerance to concentrates now, even though I don't smoke them as much. But
have you had rosin?
That leads to my question.
Okay.
As a guy who gets pretty high off all of it, and all my life it seemed like this is a poor man's take on expensive weed.
Mm-hmm.
You're just paying for the smell Both of them get you high. You're just paying for the smell, or you're paying for the look. And I know that's not right in flour. I got you, Kyle. You don't have to.
Oh, you're talking about concentrates.
But in concentrates, what I want to know is, from shatter to crumble wax and all the names they have for the middles, all the way up to the THC diamonds, which of course are the most high priced and reserved. I mean, you know, $7,500 for a gram. You know, why in the fuck would I buy that shit? Please explain it to me, because I don't understand.
Smack you.
It's going to get me higher.
So I don't know too much of the process on the making of the diamonds, right? But if you're getting something like rosin, bubble hash, and I say rosin, not resin, because resin is still
rosin is where they make it without even any solvent, no chemicals, nothing like that.
It's the pressure. The purest form.
Well, I guess what it leads me to think is I've discovered that it's not always THC level, like you helped me learn, and that a lot of times it's the terpenes that go.
Yes.
So I think,
or the extraction. You also are paying for the extraction
a lot of
process.
times these concentrates that are supposed to be so potent, don't hit me like they're that potent. That's what I'm getting back to with the shatter smacking me in Richmond.
Yeah,
it's like, and I wonder, is it because I'm not getting the terpenes, because I'm just getting the THC, and you have to buy the way more expensive concentrate to actually get the real terpenes? Is that, am I on the right track here?
I would personally say that probably has a lot to do with it, because what I've come to find out is if I get the right terpene combination at a 20% weed, supposedly, it's going to do more for me than the wrong terpene.
Than a 25% with the wrong terpene. Right? Yeah. Because I'm dumb like most people. I go straight for 29%.
That's why
$60.
And that's why they put it on.
That's why that's the first thing. That's the first thing they tell you. If you ever notice when you talk to a bud tender, they'd be like, "Oh, check out this OG coming in at 25%." Like, bro, tell me about the terpenes that come in it, because that's what I'm more interested in. Because
especially now that you can look at it or smell it,
you could have a 25% fucking weed with hella lemons in it. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of the bud tenders I talk to, not at TrueMed but other places, are kind of too new on the job to get that deep into it.
Well, I mean, let's be real. Is that really? Do you expect much more out of your bud tender?
No, I do not.
Well,
no, I do not.
And the problem is,
I feel like I need to do the research. But I'm too stupid.
But it's like, but that's also a problem too, because now you have to think about the rec market, right? And the fact that you're now going to have older people coming in there.
Sure.
So why not have that knowledge already in hand? So as a consumer, I don't have to go home and do all the damn research.
Right.
Now I have to do extra research because I'm putting out extra knowledge, like extra
and
information.
you want to be official gristle. You want to be 100% right. You don't want to be spreading false information.
And I can tell you, like, bro, I ain't got all of those bitches right. I had some of the growers be like, "That's not who the breeder was," and I'll be like, "Okay, well, I'm not going to change it because that's the whole part of the learning process." Like, you know, like now I just know to look out for it next time.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I think really to really circle back and give you an answer on that shatter, I think it was just because it was your first time smoking it.
Probably.
Because if you smoke some shatter now today, I don't think you'd get the same effect.
I feel like if I could buy I could have 2 grams of high grade
good.
Regular wax for the same price as 1 gram of the super stuff, whether it's Grow Science or TrueMed. They all have super top shelf, concentrates.
Yeah.
I'm dumb. I feel like the 2 of high grade would do better for me than the 1 of the super top shelf.
Get drips. Get their resin. Their resin's pretty good, dude.
Okay.
The resin again is.
I always enjoy their product. Their product, and they claim they use better starting materials.
Well, they use their own shit.
Right.
So
and it does. Their products always are very clean and taste very good.
Yeah. The only difference between resin and rosin is one is obviously filtered and the other one's not, right? Mm-hmm. So the resin is offered at a lower price, but it's still fire. I got some.
Okay.
I got some, but mine is live, so that just means that it's fresh cut, froze, and then Well, like you said, next time.
Yeah, next time. Concentrates is another whole episode. Yeah. Whether I come there, whether y'all come here, we need to do it.
We're going to smoke you out.
I appreciate it. I want to thank you guys so much for coming on the show. It's been fun. I could talk to you for 5 hours. Bro, I don't know if we get anybody to listen, but I could talk to you all day about
I think we would, bro.
So, we look at the time.
I think I know where I'm going when I leave here, but I'm armed with information. Is Alien Labs connected, all that? Is that worth making an extra trip? I don't usually even go to Harvard. I've never been to a Harvard, so I do have a first-time patients there, but Is that worth making the trip, or can I just go?
Depending
to
on the strain, bro.
Depending on the strain. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the word of the day is depending on the strain.
Yeah,
Thanks so much to the Hippy Life clothing line, the Hippy Chronicles
podcast. Yes,
Get all these names correct. Gas Pass Review. Definitely, if you need to learn, if you're new to rec, if you're new to having your med card, check in with these guys on IG and on YouTube, wherever their podcasts and clips are shown, so you can get this real raw information.
Yeah.
And definitely great information from a great source you can trust. So appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. This was love, man. I appreciate it. I like being on this end of the mic.
Right, we're still here with the great guys.
Okay.
From the Hippy Chronicles, Hippy Life, Gas Pass. It seems like most of the. It seems like, and we're going to keep rocking. Just for the others who've been watching, thought we were transitioning. We're going to keep rocking, and keep talking about this wonderful Arizona cannabis. It seems like in the gas and pass, there's a lot of passing. I mean, there's a lot of gassing. There's a lot of good weed.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any intention beforehand, or is it all random, run of the mill?
No.
I mean, now mind you, it seems like you start with usually quality seeds or breeders, or it doesn't seem like you're going, just give me anything and I'm going to review it. So is there any forethought that goes into it, or how do you select the strains that you will review?
So I just go in, I look at what strains are on the shelf. If like the name intrigues me or whatever, if I know I haven't tried it before.
Okay.
If I know the flower, like they just had a particular drop, I'll go for that particular drop because I know I haven't tried it before. But usually I just go in and it's all random, bro. Like I don't know when I'm going in that I'm gonna get some fire, bro. It just happens to be that way.
I mean, and trust everything I've seen you review has been pretty beautiful. I mean, and again, I come from a day where I smoked brickweed for 20 years.
Oh yeah.
So it's all love. At the end of the day, like even when I get something I'm disappointed in, I'm not that disappointed because I'm still in touch with where I was at a few minutes ago. Now, later in life, let's say most of the 2000s, I got some really good weed in Virginia that was obviously coming from Portland or somewhere over here. But I mean, we could get weed over there that was weirdly enough like as beautiful and as fresh as the top shelf that I get right down the street. It was odd that I knew it was coming from so far away, but it was still so good.
Oh yeah, man.
And maybe it was because it was, instead of getting packaged and going to a store, it was getting packaged in a different box and traveling across the country.
No light was touching it.
Right.
It was,
Let's talk about that. Is that good? Seal.
Yeah.
If you want to store cannabis and keep it fresh as long as possible,
put it in your
seal tight, no light.
Yeah. Put it in your mason jar. Throw a little humidity pack in there. Nothing too crazy because that'll create too much moisture, which can create mold.
Refrigeration or no?
No.
I have a wine refrigerator.
Nah, just for your concentrates.
Concentrates and edibles and keep them a little cool, right?
Okay. Yeah. With your flower, you just want it in a dark spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like in your shelf somewhere.
Okay.
Know, and it'll be straight every time you pop that jar open. Like I just got a pack from True that I opened not too long ago, but I let it sit, so it kind of dried up on me, and I was like, I'm not about to do a review on it.
Was that the Wookiees?
No, I didn't even think about bringing the Wookiees back to life. But even without,
what's up with Wookiees and Wookiee? Are they fucking with me? I feel like they're fucking with me at certain point. Like you have two different strains that are completely different.
I don't know what that's about. Yeah, I need to get my hands on the Wookiee though.
That would be a good question I would ask. Like, how did that happen? Where they created two different things? I guess two different people created it.
Yeah.
And they went. I guess they went for the same name. Maybe they went for the same name, and that was the negotiation. If it were like you be Wookiees and I'll be Wookiee. All right, shit, stupid, but whatever. We gotta do it.
Yeah, it's just gonna have to be how it is, player. We were here first.
I don't want mine to be Wookiee Ice or Wookiee OG. It seems like you could be anything OG as long as it's got a little OG in it. There's a million kinds of OG. OG. They just throw OG on everything,
bruh. That's where that's why OG probably went downhill for a long time, is because they threw it at
too much branding, right? Yeah.
And then everything that it was at the end of was pretty shitty. So we had to go on this whole little campaign to save the OGs, man, because they were starting to be, you would start seeing them less and less on the shelf, and I love OG Kush, like,
right.
That's why.
I mean, when I hear Snoop Dogg or I hear Cypress Hill or I hear the California guys, said they didn't even smoke anything else for years but like OG Kush.
That
like,
shit just hits
like with some
bro.
certain type of snobbery, like they didn't even want to smoke anything else.
Yeah, I can understand it too because it's
so
just so reliable.
I admire that kind of love and dedication.
Yeah, it's just it's reliable, man.
Right,
like you know, like you just. Man, I don't know what they're smoking. I'd love to try it.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
Like,
well, everybody talks about Snoop Dogg's weed like it's just, and usually it's people that don't smoke a lot of weed, celebrities. They're like, I got to smoke with Snoop Dogg. I took one hit and bye. But I'm like, I'm a bit of a connoisseur.
Yeah.
I've got a bit of a tolerance myself.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm not trying to compare myself to Snoop Dogg, but I don't know if one hit is going to do it.
That's what I'm trying to find out.
If Snoop's got some weed that's going to knock me out with one hit, I need to find that.
Right. Because
I don't think it exists right now.
He stays away from concentrates. He says he doesn't fuck around with concentrates at all because I guess same reason. You just got a lot of shit to do. You can't do it.
Yeah.
All right, so it's definitely worth spending extra money for rosin. Back to what we were talking about.
Yeah, rosin for sure, bro. Just because you are gonna get more from the terps because.
Because I think I really miss the terps in the lower forms of concentrate.
Mm-hmm. It's not as enjoyable
when they're not putting them back in, or either they're putting in fake stuff to make it smell right, but it's not the actual thing.
Yep.
I am becoming a believer in the terpenes over THC level more and more.
That's why rosin is, like, honestly, I'm gonna say it's the best. Like they take the plant, whether it's
and it's
fresh
it's a more the price point comes from it's much more of a process labor wise to process it.
And it's
apparently shatter is
clean.
Just we threw some shit in there and it turned out
we
smokable.
Extracted it. Yeah, we threw it in.
It'll get you high.
Yeah, we threw it through some butane or some silicone or some shit.
I actually made some concentrate on the East Coast. My man was bullshitting, so I went on YouTube and I made some. I got some butane and I got the right kind of glass thing, and I shoved it full of weed and I made some concentrate, and it was concentrate. It smoked. It worked. It worked. I got moderately high, but it wasn't like. This is why everybody's like, fuck going recreational. You got to vote recreational because now everybody can grow. And I don't want to put a downer on your new movement because you have a movement to teach everybody to grow. But
anybody could grow.
I'm not a scientist. The people that grow the kind of weed I like are very dedicated to small details and scientific behavior. And I didn't even go to lab when I was in college. I dropped out of college because I didn't go to labs because them shits was 2-3 hours of like extra time. Well, what? So I'm not the type of person that I'm more freestyle, not written. If you were, I don't, and I'm right. I want to smoke very great cannabis, and I don't trust myself to do it. So that's why I'm not excited about the growing aspect.
No, that's dope. You said that because I was totally against the prop. Before it went through.
And let's speak to that because people were totally for it, and people's opinions that I trusted were on both sides.
Yeah.
So what was your opinion to be totally against it? I didn't like the fact that the money went to the police. I thought that was stupid.
The tax rate, obviously, which I'm not going to be affected by it because I have my med card.
Right.
And just the way it was worded in regards to how these inmates were going to be applicants to have their records expunged. It's like if it's already decriminalized, why the fuck do they got to go through it? And who's looking over these applications, right?
It's probably just more money. Like,
so to
get your med card is an application, and I know people that are worried about going to sit down and talk to the doctor about it.
It's not even like that.
When I'll be honest, for everybody out there, since you're very informative, I want to give this information to anybody listening or anybody watches this in the future.
Yeah.
I came up with 3 different scenarios. I worked construction for 20 years. I had a car accident 10 years ago. And there was some other scenario I had, and I presented all these scenarios to the doctor. Let's put that in quotes. Doctor. And it was not my regular. I want people to understand it was not my regular healthcare physician. No. This was in a person that runs a business and is a doctor strictly to help people get their medical card. So I laid out the 3 scenarios, and this wonderful doctor took it out of my hands and said, let's talk about the car accident. So when I laid out the 3 scenarios to try to make sure I had one that would work, she directed me to the right one. The one that she's directed to, the one that she's aware that people have passed with before. So let's talk about the correct one. We talked about the correct one for about 5 minutes. We signed some papers, and that was it. It was very easy. It was not what I thought it was going to be going into it. So I want other, they talk about previous paperwork, and if you don't have the experience, they talk about it in a way that could be intimidating, and I want everybody to know that there's no reason to be intimidated.
Nah, facts. Like
they work with you. They're there to work with you. They want to help you.
If you come with that money, you're getting your card.
I really don't understand the scenario of somebody leaving that office without their card. I don't know how that would happen. I'm not saying
unless you forgot your wallet.
Right.
You are leaving that building without your. That's what they are put in place to do, is make sure you get your card.
Okay.
So
I just want to be clear for everybody that hadn't got their card, or hadn't been through that experience.
And honestly,
just relax.
if you real worried about it, just wait till April, and you can go shop at the dispensary without it.
True indeed.
In all honesty, you're gonna want your card, especially now they're good for 2 years instead of the 1. Just to save on the taxes, just to get the better product, because from going out of state and seeing the recreational states product, because I don't just do reviews on weed in Arizona, I've been fortunate to go to Vegas, Cali, OKC.
That's brilliant to branch out, though, as all rappers should. Don't think about just the state or your town. Think about the whole country,
and
the world.
All of those spots were so just grateful that we hit them up.
Did you hit the Swerve, or are those just pictures? I wanted to ask about that.
No, I haven't hit it yet.
But
I'm going. I'm about to get ready to go out there on the 14th.
If it's garbage, just don't tell me. Just don't tell me. If it's garbage. I don't want my name on something garbage running around, even if it is in Oklahoma.
I'm gonna have to tell you, but I won't say it publicly. I'll keep it between us, Swerve. Right. Listen, we gonna have to hit them up and tell them to take the name off.
Change it to Swerve A. Put an accent over something. Do something. I can't have something with my name on there. Not cannabis.
I feel it. But these rec states, man, the quality of the product they're putting out, especially on the rec side, is just get it out. There is no quality.
I've always heard that. This is another reason why I knew I would keep my medical card. I've always heard in these situations that still go to a medical dispensary because the product will be better. So you're verifying that.
Yeah, you're gonna see it. We'll see a lot of outdoors. We're gonna see a lot of outdoor and green. Well, there's a lot of greenhouse weed, like Copper State. They do greenhouse and shit. Yeah. But now you're gonna see.
I wouldn't smoke their shit if I had either option.
Oh no, you shouldn't. But that's another discussion.
Yeah.
But you
keep it very positive. I guess that's what I was trying to touch on with the gas and pass. I rarely see you shit on anybody. If you do negatively critique people, it's in a positive way. Hey, this is where you're lacking. This is where you could touch it up. I don't really ever see you shit on anybody. Is that with intention?
Oh yeah. I definitely.
You're trying to keep relationships. Hey, hit us back when it's better. Give us some.
I mean, not just
that.
See. I feel like that should be a motto for life.
Yeah.
Why shit on anybody?
That's somebody's craft.
Give somebody a way to help themselves move forward, be constructive.
Right.
That's somebody's craft,
Shout out to Cal. God damn it. Cal is,
he comes through when he needs to.
Yeah, no, he may be, you guys are somewhat like Silent Bob and Jay, but no, with the gems he drops, and he is somewhat more of the quietness, the dreads. Maybe he's the better half of the hippie in the combination,
Facts.
Yeah. But that's okay. Somebody's got to get the work done.
I need somebody to talk for me, man.
Yeah, somebody's got to do the editing, and somebody's got to do the talking.
I'll talk.
Oh, my team is me. I do it all, man. Man, this is so much information. I'm so glad. Is there any reason? I rarely find the reason to buy pre-rolls unless I actually am out and about and don't want to roll a joint, which is rare.
I wouldn't even buy it then. I'd still go buy a gram and a cone.
Let me tell y'all something about these pre-rolls, right? And again,
TrueMed, and not to keep bigging up the sponsor, but TrueMed is the only pre-roll I have bought that I truly enjoyed.
And I can't even say that because I haven't had one.
Yeah.
Actually, I did. I ain't gonna lie. It was the Tropicana cookies a while ago. It came in the little 5-pack.
Right, the 5-pack ones. Not the ones you buy off the shelf. I don't know if they're different or not, but I like the ones that come in the little pack.
Yeah, I just don't care for the pre-rolls because, and I say this with all honesty, I have a DA card. My job is literally to go and analyze product to make sure it's viable. That's what I do. Mm-hmm. So I get to go out and see the starting material of these people's pre-roll. Mm-hmm. So if you want to know what the pre-roll is, it's definitely that shit that you
would
toss
buy
on the side,
shelf,
right? That you put on the side. If you find that shit in your pack, you put it on the side because you don't want to smoke that. So they take that like trim. Mm-hmm. They'll probably take the big stems out, but if you break down some pre-rolls, there's little stems in there, and that's just because all that shit is trim. It's not even shake.
So don't fuck with pre-rolls. Let's be clear. Roll
unless you absolutely have to.
Nowadays, you can buy a cone and you can stuff it. So even if you ain't got the fingers for rolling a joint, it's not hard to just chop it up and stuff it down there and smoke it.
It's not.
What do you think about the? It was big for a while on the internet. I haven't seen them lately. I actually had a friend that had one. The glass blunt that's not a blunt.
Yeah.
Where the weed, you kind of twist the weed out or whatever.
That just sounds like I saw them, and my first thought was
I hit one time. My friend had one.
Pipe.
Like I smoke out of a pipe. Almost
I hit bongs. I hit bongs. I lived through the crack era, and I smoke out of bongs.
I have a little hand pipe.
Hippy, are you one of those guys?
All day.
No,
a hand pipe's not bad. I had friends. Well, a hand pipe's not bad unless you get one of the old school jobs like a steamroller or something. But are you one of those guys that don't take bong hits because it relates to a crack pipe somehow?
No.
I had friends like that in Virginia that. They had traumatic experiences, maybe family members who were victims to crack cocaine. And the bong, and then if they saw what I do with concentrate,
first time I did concentrate,
they really
I
think I was a
doing
crack.
Yeah. Well, y'all
I was like, what are you gonna?
Hey, when I was in Virginia, the way you hit it and the way I felt, I was like, whoa, what is this again? You know?
Man, I just like. This probably makes
because
me the most
we talked
bougie.
about pre-rolls, but I happen to notice you like most of the hip hop community smoke.
And that was an accident. Like,
I'm gonna say if you smoke blunts, smoking backwoods is the next level.
Yeah.
Because I tell you, like I tell every rapper that sits in that chair and talks about backwoods, I don't see how you smoke the bark of that tree. I don't see how you do it. And they said, well, Swerve, you didn't put enough weed in it. I said, I understand that concept because I've smoked very small blunts. The tobacco is overwhelming. I never smoked cigarettes. I did smoke a lot of blunts. Back in the day when I smoked brick weed, we mixed it with malt liquor, and that made the weed better. When you drank malt liquor with your brown weed and you rolled it in a blunt, that got the job done. Is there somebody out there? Yes, let's get it. Let's get him.
You ready to chime in?
All right, I hate to cut you guys off, but we got to get De La Prime in the seat.
That was dope.
Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for talking. We'll be right back with De La Prime.
Yeah.
Word.
What's up, bro? I think I used my guy Dom had a song with you.
Dom's my nigga.
King Dom. I just did I used what y'all song for the gas patch.
Up next?
Yeah, that was me. I did that's my brother video shit. Dom's my guy. That's my nigga. Yeah. He dope in the llama. Watch it. I'm
come on in, Free.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, I got you, man. My bad, bro.
That's all right. You
gotta touch my guy, bro.